Jennifer Lopez seems to be telling one lie after another. She's lied about her upbringing, her love stories, who actually sings her music, and who knows what else at this point. So if you didn't know, earlier this year, JLo released her documentary on Amazon Prime called This Is Me Now, A Love Story, which gave a behind-the-scenes look into her new album, well, her latest album, This Is Me Now, and the accompanying movie, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. So some fans who watched it took to social media to call her out for her lies. So there's one scene where she poses in front of the mirror at like her gym, and she's like shaking out her hair, and she's like, oh yeah, like I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me when I was young and in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy girl who used to be effing wild and no limits, all dreams. Well, TikTok user Photos by Angela slammed the star in a series of videos. She claims to have gone to the same Catholic high school as JLo and accused her of lying about her experience living in the Bronx. She said, we both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block. Let's go on to line number 2, shall we, folks? So JLo has been long accused of not actually singing on her albums, and singer Natasha Ramos took to TikTok to shed light on that rumor. So Natasha has a voice very similar to that of Jennifer's, and she was hired to sing the demo of Jenny from the Block. The production team liked her voice so much they asked her to record 5 more songs for the album This Is Me, including the single I'm Glad. Natasha received like $3,500 in a backup singer's credit. However, as she claims and the original demo demonstrates, it's her voice in the final track. And not only the choruses, it's her laugh, it's her yelling from the Bronx. JLo only sings in the verse. If we're gonna talk about stealing, JLo is notorious for this. She caught her big break in 1997 when she starred as the late Latin pop singer Selena in the biography of the same name, and after that film, JLo ventured into music. Her demo was picked up by music exec Tommy Mottola and Sony Music, and she dropped her debut album on the 6th in summer of 1999. The big hit, If You Had My Love, we all know it. Well, that song received some backlash from R&B singer Shantae Moore. Moore had a near identical song called If I Gave Love, recorded a year prior in '98. Both songs, JLo's and Moore's, were written and produced by Rodney Jerkins. It's been said that JLo's then boyfriend Puff Daddy pressured Jerkins to write a near identical song, and JLo's stealing only gets worse as time went on. So look, technically using background vocals is not uncommon in the music industry, but the issue with JLo is because she's passed so many vocals from other singers as her own, she's essentially committing fraud. Songs like Play and the I'm Real remix feature prominent reference track vocals from Christina Milian and Ashanti. Ashanti's the big name here, folks. JLo and Ja Rule's music video for I'm Real remix, yeah, JLo reused Ashanti's reference track vocals on the song and passed them off as her own. Instead of JLo re-recording the song, she was just like, yeah, no, this is totally me, guys. It's not. JLo has also stolen or attempted to steal from artists such as Usher, Brandy Norwood, Mariah Carey, and so many more. She's also been accused of lip-syncing during live performances on so many occasions. Back in 2021, fans took to social media during her American Music Awards performance to express their disappointment because they're like, these vocals are not matching the studio version of the song. On my way. 2014, American Idol, they were like, this rendition of I Like It Poppy, it ain't it, girl. Let's talk about some diva behavior, shall we? So, in 2002, JLo starred in the romantic comedy Made in Manhattan. She was all over the world promoting it, actors always do press, and when she was in London, people were talking. And not about the movie. She had a very interesting encounter with hotel staff. So she stayed at the Metropolitan Hotel, and she was being a big diva. The hotel staff was actually astounded by her extravagant demands because it was reaching levels they had never seen before. She wanted so many lemon-scented candles, and no matter where she went, she always had to be in like a limo, even though maybe she was only going like down the block. Nope, still need to be escorted there. I can't walk. In 2012, reports surfaced that she demanded that any staff working for her make no eye contact or speak with her. So she was having work done on her San Fernando Valley home, and she was like, no helpers, no drivers, no contractors. You cannot interact with me. She's flying first class. Don't even try talking to her if you're the flight attendant and that's your job. One time a flight attendant offered her a drink and she was like, mm-mm. She said to her assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Just say, hi, thank you so much, I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. It's not that hard. We're gonna go back into her lying behaviors. So remember that fun movie she did with Ryan Guzman? Yeah, she had him fake his relationship status to hype up their movie. Or at least that's what his ex-girlfriend's saying. So Melanie Iglesias called out JLo on the No Chaser podcast for how she claims JLo acted during the 2015 The Boy Next Door press run. She's like, yeah, JLo was holding hands with Ryan at after parties. She was acting like they were an item, knowing full well he had a girlfriend. So the girlfriend was like, yeah, I met JLo at an award show and it was just like really awkward. There was like a really firm handshake, a once over, And Melanie was disappointed because she once viewed JLo as a hero. Also, I know we don't like Ellen DeGeneres, but when she asked JLo, like, doesn't he have a girlfriend? JLo played dumb. She's like, I don't know. JLo faced a lot of backlash after revealing she was unhappy about sharing the stage with Shakira back at the Super Bowl in 2020. The duo took the stage by storm at the iconic annual halftime show, with their history-making performance attracting a ton of praise from fans and celebs worldwide. But it turns out that despite the evident success of the joint performance, JLo wasn't really happy with sharing the stage, and she admitted that in her Netflix documentary that she thought it was the worst idea in the world. So shortly after those comments hit the internet, fans were like, girl, this attitude is entitled. It's over. Regardless of time constraints, those two put on an iconic show. So what's with the diva behavior? So what isn't JLo telling us? Well, let's go and talk about Puffy's recent arrest on racketeering charges, more things I can't say, how it sent shockwaves through Hollywood, turning the spotlight on his infamous past parties and every connection he's ever had. Well, as the scandal's been unfolding, a lot of celebrities, once linked to this star-studded human being, have been keeping quiet. In the midst of all the controversy, there's been a lot of photos from these 4th of July parties, from the white parties, from the birthday bashes, that have tongues wagging. There's one photo where we see Puff Daddy in a bed with JLo, Aaliyah, Andre Harrell, Natanya Adcock, Damon Dash. Everybody's dressed in white except for Puff Daddy, JLo, and I'm kind of wondering why. And there's another photo where once again, JLo and Puff Daddy are cuddled up on what seems to be an oversized bed covered with white pillows that I wouldn't want to put a black light near. And a lot of folks call the industry cruel after seeing that, especially the first one. They were like, poor Leah, dealing with Puff Daddy, dealing with other predators. She was so vulnerable and unprotected. She was in all the wrong spaces. The industry was so cruel to her. And after what we've talked about today with JLo and how she took advantage of her, yeah, that makes sense. Sure, these photos might have been simple and fun and innocent at the time, but now if you look at it with all the context and the history, JLo girl, are you okay? Fans on social media have been talking a lot about them, and they're talking a lot about JLo and her silence amidst everything that's going on in the news. Maybe she's too traumatized to talk about things. Some folks said that, hey, the divorce with Ben Affleck makes more sense now. Poor JLo was just completely traumatized after being with Puff Daddy for 2 years. Yeah, they dated from 1999 to 2001, and they had a roller coaster of a relationship, and fans want to know just how much of an impact it had on the poor woman.
Jennifer Lopez is a liar. She's lied about her age, her singing, and even where she grew up. Yes, Jenny is not from the block. Now, in 1999, JLo was arrested with her then boyfriend at the time, P. Diddy. Why? Well, there was an incident about Diddy injuring someone, and they fled the scene, and it was dramatic, but what came out of all this is that JLo had actually been lying about her age. Up until that point, Jennifer had said she was born in 1970, but she was actually born in 1969. Now, this is just strange to me because it was only changed by 1 year. Now, that seems like such an insignificant detail. Why would she change it? Well, it seems like no one really knows. Of course, Hollywood prefers younger stars, but a year difference doesn't seem like that much. Some people have theorized that maybe she changed her age due to schooling and just stuck with it, but I don't know. Lying about your age by 1 year is just weird. Now, JLo is known for being youthful, and her secret to this is apparently olive oil. Yep, you heard that right. The star spoke out ahead of the launch of her JLo Beauty skincare range in December 2020, saying of olive oil, "It's the secret I've used over the years because it really does work." Now, she went on to encourage people to also be vigilant with sunscreen, explaining, "One of the big things I would encourage everyone to do from the time they're 15 years old, even younger, is wear sunscreen every day." But some fans found another way that she maintains her youthful appearance online by using video and photo filters. TikTok user @NeedTheDeets exposed the trick she uses as its video filters. "Wait for the filter to fall off to see JLo's real skin texture," they captioned the video, which was a promotion for sport water. In the footage, Jennifer looks flawless, but at one point she leans closer to the camera and her skin looks less smooth and far from perfect. Jen then quickly readjusts herself, making the glitch last about half a second, but it just proved that she's not perfect. Now, this makes me question question, does she even use olive oil on her skin, or did she just say that? I don't know, but all I know is that she's human and isn't perfect. Now, plastic surgeon Corey Hartman took to Instagram to challenge J-Lo on this claim. He said, "There are some things that I think and other things that I know for sure. I think Jennifer Lopez is probably forgetting if she's ever had Botox, but I know for sure that she's used more than olive oil to maintain that glow. I really thought we'd turn the corner on Botox denial and judging others for personal choices when it comes to cosmetic procedures. Let's not go back to stigmatizing Botox. To each his own, and good luck to J-Lo with the olive oil. We don't believe you, but we still love you, Jenny." Now, Jennifer has obviously not responded to these claims, but everyone knows it's true. Now, if you didn't know, J-Lo is notorious for stealing from other artists. The fact that we've let her get away with it so much is honestly crazy. Now, J-Lo caught her big break in 1997, where she starred as the late Latin pop singer Selena in her biography of the same name. After the film, J-Lo got into music. Her demo was picked up by music exec Tommy Mulata and Sony Music. She then dropped her debut album On the 6th in summer 1999, and one big hit from the album was If You Had My Love. People loved it, but it received backlash from R&B singer Shantae Moore. Now, Moore had a near-identical song called If I Gave Love, recorded a year prior in 1998. Now, both songs from J-Lo and Moore were written and produced by Rodney Jerkins, and this was done on purpose. It's been said that J-Lo's then-boyfriend Diddy pressured Jerkins to write a near-identical song. From then on, J-Lo's stealing habits worsened as time went on, and it became more and more obvious. Now, one thing she would continuously do is use background vocals from other artists and claim they were her own. Her songs like Play and the I'm Real remix feature prominent reference track vocals from Christina Milian and Ashanti. Now, Jennifer and Ja Rule's music video for the I'm Real remix, J-Lo reused Ashanti's reference track vocals on the song and passed them off as her own. Now, instead of J-Lo re-recording the song, she left the demo vocals on the song and failed to credit Milian or Ashanti. Now, the worst offender is J-Lo's signature song though, Jenny from the Block. Natasha Ramos sings on the track's chorus, bridge, and ad-libs. Now, Natasha also contributed vocals to multiple songs on J-Lo's third album, This Is Me Then. Now, Natasha has downplayed her contributions to the song, but this is directly contradicted by the leaked reference track showing Natasha's chorus and ad-libs are directly cut and pasted. Like, no J-Lo vocals are in there at all. Now, J-Lo has also stolen or attempted to steal from other artists like Usher, Brandy Norwood, Mariah Carey, and many more. In 2005, Usher claimed that she stole a song that he cast aside while recording his hugely successful album called Confessions. Usher claimed that J-Lo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song that he co-wrote the year before, which was only available online. He said, "I hate it, but I'd better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect J-Lo to just take it." Then there's J-Lo and her image of being from the Bronx. In her documentary released this year, The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, she says that it's about facing the truth of who you really are. But that clip completely backfired when it went viral, as fans said she wasn't even from the Bronx. A clip showed Jennifer tousle her hair while looking into a mirror, reminiscing about her childhood. She says, "I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams." But even though she loves speaking about the Bronx, it's a place she actively avoids. One TikTok creator, Photos by Angela, posted a video alleging that she and J-Lo had gone to the same high school and claims to have waited for years before speaking out, having been annoyed in silence. In the TikTok clip, she bluntly accuses J-Lo of lying and using the residents of the Bronx to look human. "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block," she says. Not to mention the fact that J-Lo starred in a commercial that took place in the Bronx, but the ad backfired when the Smoking Gun reported that J-Lo never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad and that a body double stand-in was used instead. It seems like she really doesn't like being Jenny from the block. Now, along with stealing songs, she apparently doesn't always sing live. In November 2021, she was slammed by music fans for allegedly lip-syncing during her American Music Awards performance performance as she took the stage to carry out her brand new song, On My Way, Marry Me. Now another angry reviewer ranted, "Come on with the overproduced singing, this commercial sounds exactly like her live vocals did." Now a commentator pointed out, "Why are you lip syncing? You have a great voice, just sing the song." Now this isn't the first time this has happened though, as in 2014 she was caught lip syncing her performance of I Love Ya Poppy on American Idol. Now this just wasn't a good look at all. And finally, there was the time she was caught cheating. As we all know, J-Lo and Ben Affleck had an on-again off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s and ended this year with the couple getting divorced after being married for only 2 years. Now the timeline of their relationship is a huge red flag and included alleged cheating. So in July of 2002, J-Lo filed for divorce from her second husband, Chris Judd, citing irreconcilable differences. But this news broke just months after J-Lo had wrapped the movie Jilji alongside Ben. Even though she vehemently denied cheating rumors, Ben took out an ad in The Hollywood Reporter talking about his love for J-Lo before her divorce wasn't even finalized. In fact, Chris Judd's father Larry spoke out against the couple and accused J-Lo of being unfaithful to his son. He insinuated that the affair started during the filming of Jilji, saying, "I thought Mr. Affleck would honor a married woman and not just go right into the trailer." He then added that she'd be happier if she just tell the truth and that no one in her inner circle is going to say one negative thing to her. Now over the weekend it was learned that the couple are selling their house. Multiple sources with direct knowledge told TMZ that J-Lo and Ben are using realtor Santiago Arana from the agency to sell the home they bought a little over a year ago. Now they bought the enormous Beverly Hills mansion for just over $60 million. Now they were on the hunt for a home for nearly 2 years, looking at more than 80 properties before settling on the mansion. It's been said that Arana has been showing the house for around 2 weeks, and they're asking for around $65 million for the house. With a broker's commission and a new tax on super expensive properties, along with significant money that they plunked down in improvements, this would mean that they would take a loss of millions of dollars. Now, the house being on the market isn't that shocking, as J-Lo was spotted solo house hunting. And then it was even revealed that Ben wasn't even living with her anymore. For the last couple of weeks, Ben has been staying at a Brentwood house by himself. Now, this already raised some eyebrows, but with their house now up for sale, I think it's safe to say that Bennifer is over. But then again, Jennifer wore her wedding ring this past weekend when going out to dinner, and Ben has also been seen out with his wedding ring on. So what does this mean? No one really knows. Now, Jennifer recently cancelled her upcoming tour, This Is Me Live, in order to spend more time with her family and friends. Now, a lot of people saw this coming because of the rumors of her and Ben divorcing. It was made to seem like she did this to work on their marriage, but it appears she might be doing it to end their marriage. Now, the house is just the first thing that they need to figure out. You see, when they got married, they decided that they didn't need a prenup this time. Now, according to OK Magazine, the pair wedded in Las Vegas without tying up their assets. It could be a costly decision for J-Lo, who's worth considerably more than Ben. Now her current net worth is $400 million and Ben's is $150 million. But according to a source, Jen's love for Ben was so unconditional at the time that she didn't see a prenup as necessary. Now rumor has it this wasn't the case in the first phase of their relationship. When the pair first came together, a prenup was allegedly on the table, and it was claimed that the original prenup not only protected their assets, but protected their relationship from infidelity. The contract stated that the pair were able to keep both of their money except if Ben cheated. If he stepped out, it would effectively nullify their prenup, putting his fortune at risk. But the two never made it to the altar, so the alleged prenup never had to take effect. But with them not having one now, it could prove to be a huge mistake. But there is still one person rooting for the couple, Ben's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. Garner is reportedly convinced that Lopez is a source of stability for Ben and their kids, and also really cares about the singer and wants them to remain happy and together. An insider told the Daily Mail Garner has been through it with the same man herself, and although the circumstances were quite different, they both dealt with some of the same issues. Jen does not want Ben to pull the plug on his marriage because she really does care about J-Lo. Now the source further revealed that Garner has visited Ben at his home several times to talk to him about this and to try to keep the two of them together. Now they also shared that Garner and Lopez have developed a close relationship and that Garner regularly tells the singer that she is valued in their lives. Now they've also bonded because both gens are reportedly worried about the possibility of Ben relapsing into alcohol use amid the marriage troubles. Ben has been known for a pattern of relapse when he's handling marital issues, as after his divorce to Garner, he had to go to rehab again to help him. The biggest fear right now is that he will start drinking again, and part of the reason Jen has been keeping tabs on him is to make sure this doesn't happen, an insider told the Daily Mail. Now Ben's alcohol intake was a big part of his issues that ended his marriage to Garner after about 13 years together. So what will happen with J-Lo and Ben? I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but to be honest, it does not look good for the couple. Now J-Lo was supposed to go on tour this year, but it was cancelled. Now the reason why she said it was cancelled and the truth were both very different things. J-Lo sent a special message to her fans via her On the J-Lo newsletter, telling them of cancelling the tour. "I am completely heartsick and devastated about letting you down." She also said, "Please know that I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel it was absolutely necessary. I promise I will make it up to you and we'll all be together again. I love you all so much. Until next time." Now representatives for Live Nation announced that the summer tour, This Is Me Live, was cancelled, saying in a statement, "Jennifer is taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends." Sources insisted that pulling the plug was not due to poor ticket sales, but rather for personal reasons and wanting to be with her kids. But this is simply not true. Now J-Lo first announced her tour in the middle of February, initially as the This Is Me Now tour. A week later, 3 shows were added, but then the name of the tour was mysteriously rebranded in April. The tour's name had been changed from This Is Me Now to This Is Me Live, The Greatest Hits. It was cited that low ticket sales was a possible reason for emphasizing J-Lo's back catalog. Now at the time, Variety reported the latest rebrand suggests a pivot from a tour focusing on the new album songs to one spanning her discography, a move that may entice listeners who didn't connect with her latest material. Now, not to mention her new album debuted at a disappointing 38 on the Billboard 200. Now in March, she raised eyebrows when she and her team decided to cancel 7 shows from her tour without any explanation. Then in June, it was announced that it was cancelled. Now another reason besides low ticket sales could have been because she was going through a divorce with her then husband Ben Affleck. She cited April 26 as the date of their separation, so it's likely that this had something to do with the cancellation as well. Now between a divorce and poor ticket sales, I don't blame her for cancelling the tour, but she should have been more open and honest about it with her fans. But here comes another lie. She is known for lip syncing. Yep, this so-called great performer doesn't even sing live while on stage. In November 2021, she was slammed by music fans for allegedly lip syncing during her American Music Awards performance as she took the stage to carry out her brand new song, On My Way, Marry Me. An angry viewer ranted, "Come on with the overproduced singing, this sounds exactly like her live vocals just did," and a commenter pointed out, "Now why are you lip syncing? You have a great voice, just sing the song." Now this isn't the first time this has happened though, as in 2014 she was caught lip syncing her performance of I Love You Poppy on American Idol. And again, fans were not happy about this. Then in 2012, it was reported that she had a maid fired from her job, although J-Lo repeatedly denies it. Bennifer was staying at the Melia Dusseldorf in Germany, and a maid working at the hotel, Prey Doja, approached the Diva's room to get an autograph. Now she spoke with J-Lo's assistant, who denied her to see the star. The next morning, Prey was fired. She said, "A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph." Now Bennifer and the hotel deny that she was fired for that reason, as the maid had allegedly barged into the room unannounced, and the singer's security immediately gave her the boot out of concern for the singer's safety. The hotel management has since assured J-Lo's people that no one was fired, but the maid company the hotel uses has relocated the maid in question to a different property. But I mean, who would lie about getting fired? It seems pretty convincing to me. Come on, I thought thought you knew me better than this, Bennifer tweeted. Would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First I heard of this was on Twitter, she said. But Cray has a different story. And let me just say, I believe in the maid because JLo is known to be pretty horrible to service workers. Now, JLo had quite a year in 2024, and this year an interview she did with Movie Line in 1998 resurfaced where she talked about other female actors. And let me just say, she was not saying nice things at all. On Oscar-nominated actress Salma Hayek, she said, "We're in two different realms. She's a sexy bombshell, and those are the kind of roles she does. I do all kinds of different things." Cameron Diaz was a lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities. I just wish she would have done more with, she said. And Oscar winner Gwyneth Paltrow, she said, "I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard of her work." And for Madonna, well, when asked about Madonna's acting skills, JLo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, after the interview was published, JLo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. She then later apologized profusely since then for her remarks, claiming that she was misquoted and so taken out of context. But which one is it? I think she's just trying to cover up her mean girlness, as people were calling her out. Now, she already suffered for what she said though, as Madonna had read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected. There was a New Year's Eve party hosted by Donatella Versace that year, which was attended by JLo, Madonna, and Christopher Saccone. Christopher explained that Ingrid Caceres, Madonna's close friend, ran into the courtyard during the celebration and shouted, "JLo is here and we're not talking to her." He said that everyone except for him and Donatella Versace gave Bennifer the cold shoulder, and honestly, I think she deserved it. And finally, we're moving on to the whole Super Bowl halftime show. Bennifer was frustrated with the organizers of the halftime show for giving her and Shakira the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, rather than doubling it for their performance. Now, for context, performers at the halftime show are usually given 12 to 16 minutes on stage, but it's not uncommon for multiple artists to share the stage for a performance of this time length. Now, one recent Super Bowl, for example, saw stars Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent, with each member only receiving a few minutes directly centered in the spotlight. However, JLo was clearly unhappy with the idea of her and Shakira dividing the time between them, telling her music director Kim Burse in her Netflix documentary, "We have 6 effing minutes. We have 30 seconds of a song, and if we take a minute, that's it. We've got 5 left. But there's going to be certain songs that we sing though. We have to have our singing moments. We have to sing our message," she said, before going on to label the entire thing the worst idea in the world. "This is the worst idea in the world to have 2 people do the Super Bowl," she said. Now, while this is what it was like behind the scenes, to the whole world, JLo was acting all happy about sharing the stage. But as soon as her real feelings about the situation started to come out, fans called her out for her entitled attitude, arguing that regardless of the time constraints, she and Shakira were still able to put on an amazing performance. Now, it's crazy that she acted so happy to the public about all this when she was really feeling the opposite. I'm glad people called her out though, and I can't imagine how Shakira felt about all of this.
Number 10. Botox. Has Bennifer had Botox in the past? She would tell you no, but many dermatologists would disagree. Jen started receiving major backlash after the release of her skincare brand JLo Beauty. She claimed that this was the secret to her ageless appearance, which many just don't believe. The star shared a makeup-free selfie and her skin looks a little bit too perfect. She has been quoted in the past saying, "I haven't had Botox to this day. I'm not that person." She went on to claim that it was olive oil and not a procedure of any sort, saying, "My mom used to say that olive oil was a cure-all for everything. So when we went to do this, that was the first thing I said. It has to have olive oil." After this statement, the dermatologist Corey Hartman took to Instagram and wrote his opinion, saying, "I think Bennifer is probably forgetting if she's had Botox, but I know for sure that she's used more than olive oil to maintain that glow." Going on to add, "To each their own, good luck JLo with the olive oil, we don't believe you, but we still love you, Jenny." Bennifer shot back though, and when asked about the Botox speculation, during an interview with People, she said, "I'm telling you what I do works. Please don't call me a liar, I don't lie about things. I've been pretty honest about my whole life." She even responded to some of them criticism on her Instagram and commented back at fans claiming that she had Botox, saying, "For the 500th millionth time, I have never done Botox or any injectables or surgery." But it seems many are in agreement that it would just be impossible to achieve that look at her age with just olive oil. Number 9, the movie line interview. Was she using this interview as a chance to bash her fellow women in the industry? Or was she, like she has claimed, just in a fan mentality? The movie line interview from 1998 is now infamous because of JLo's interesting critiques of other women in the industry. One woman she attacked was Madonna and her acting. When asked about Madonna, she allegedly responded by saying, "Do I think she's great? No. Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, and I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act." And I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. Gwyneth Paltrow was another victim of this interview. When asked about Gwyneth, JLo responded by saying, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God I don't remember anything she's in. Some people get hot by association." Going on to say, "I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Cameron Diaz was next up in the pretty harsh interview. Jen said when discussing Cameron, "She's a lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities. I just wish she would have done more with it." She went on to kind of dismiss the actress by saying, "She's beautiful and has a great presence. Though in My Best Friend's Wedding, I thought when directed she's good." She was then asked about this interview 20 years later, and she did admit that she knew it really angered some people. She said at the time, "I was still in that kind of fan mentality back in the Bronx. And then you go, oh wait a minute, you have to present yourself in the way that you are." Going on to say, "So I learned to be more responsible." Number 8, controlling. One thing I'm sure Jen would deny is how controlling she's been known to be. Sources have come forward to speak about how Jen and Ben Affleck's marriage is going, and it seems like there's a lot that annoys her about him. An insider claims that Ben's smoking habit is a big deal for Jen, as this is one of his long-standing habits. They revealed he's promised to give it up, but with all her nagging, he's smoking even more. Besides his most likely very annoying smoking habit, the source also reveals Ben may also have a bit of a cleanliness problem as well, sharing Ben doesn't clean up after himself, which really irritates Jennifer. The source also discusses the way Jennifer goes about nagging her husband, saying she's been known to yell at him and point her finger. It makes people wonder if she mistakes him for a dog. Not only this, but Jen really threw Ben under the bus when she suggested in an interview that Ben had no idea how to dress himself. She recalled a conversation with him and said, "I did kind of like say, you need to be, you're a movie star, you should wear a suit. You should do this with your hair." Going on to say, he didn't do anything he didn't want to do. He had some good fashion moments when he was with me. Number 7, the makeup artist. This is more of an instance of JLo believing a lie and then completely running with it. In the mid-2000s, Jen really came after her longtime makeup artist, Scott Barnes. This came after rumors began circulating that someone in her inner circle had leaked information about her private marriage ceremony to Mark Anthony. During an interview, Scott explained what it was like to be basically banished by Jen for a whole year until it was revealed that someone else leaked the information. He said at the time, "It was like I had the Black Plague." He went on to explain that while he did get his job back, Jen supposedly didn't apologize. Scott revealed, "I went back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again, which is even weirder." Number 6, the Mariah Carey feud. It's been a long-known rumor that Mariah Carey is JLo's #1 nemesis, and after some of the reported incidents, it really does seem like this rumor is true. This feud dates back to the 90s and they have both since denied that there is no bad blood, but that just really does not seem to be the truth. Allegedly, the beginning to this long fight began because of Mariah's ex-husband Tommy. In her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of Mariah, she explained how she was working on the single Loverboy when she obtained a sample from the Yellow Magic Orchestra's song, what she was going to use for her single. But it seems like Tommy, who was the head of Sony Music, was a bit bitter over the divorce and had other plans. Mariah wrote in her memoir saying, "After hearing my new song using the same sample I used, Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label." But even after Mariah continued telling fans and interviewers that she didn't know JLo, it wasn't hard to figure out that this was who she was referring to. It really only went downhill from here though, and during a 2002 interview, Mariah threw more shade JLo's way. When asked about her feud with JLo, she responded by saying, "There are rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. My whole thing is singing and writing songs. I've been doing this my whole life, and singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent and I'm grateful for it. Her thing is something different." Of course, JLo was aware of what was being said about her to the public, and during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, she ended up giving her side of the story. When asked about Mariah, she responded by saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read some things that she said about about me that weren't the greatest. She continued on by saying, but we have never met, we don't know each other. I think it's from word of mouth of things that have happened in the past. Number 5. Trouble in paradise. Has Jen been lying about her struggles of married life? When they first got together, an insider revealed that Jennifer was walking on air. But now it appears she's come down to reality, as multiple sources have claimed the honeymoon phase has worn off since settling into their life in their home in LA. While both are working with busy careers and the stress of blending two families, could it all just be too much? A source tells the press they're back to the grind of work and parenting. Reality has set in. The same source also explained that only recently, Ben stormed out of the house following an intense fight. Allegedly, the couple have been arguing non-stop since the wedding. A second source says, before the wedding, Jennifer put on an Oscar-worthy performance for Ben, pretending to be perfect and an easygoing wife, claiming Ben was blinded by love and just didn't know what he was really getting himself into. The two have been spotted at various events and look to be fighting in various clips. But could this just be out of context moments, or is there some truth to what the sources have revealed? Number 4. Demanding. Being called a diva throughout her career is nothing new to Jen. She has a bad rep in Hollywood for being supposedly somewhat of a diva, and the evidence is pretty incriminating. Reportedly, Jennifer refused to travel for a commercial that she agreed to do. For the commercial, she was meant to drive through the Bronx, where she grew up, to show what inspired her. But reportedly, she refused to leave LA, forcing a body double to have to step in and do all the work to make the ad for her. Her hotel demands are also known to be excessive. Allegedly, while staying at a hotel in London, she demanded a suite that was fit for royalty, with roses, specific brand of candles, and baked cookies with plain M&Ms. Insiders have come forward to share their experiences as staff when encountering J-Lo. Reportedly, while flying, Jen refuses to acknowledge any staff. An airline attendant claims he offered her a drink, but she didn't even look at him before looking at her personal assistant and said, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke with lime." Even with all the celebrities and other staff members coming forward to discuss their experiences with Jen, she's continued to deny her diva energy. She said during an interview, "I got a moniker of being a diva, which I never felt I deserved, which I don't deserve." Going on to say, "I've always been a hard worker, on time, and doing what I'm supposed to do." Number 3. Her friendship with Garner. How are J-Lo and Ben's ex-wife Jennifer Garner really getting along? While the two would say that there's no bad blood, is that really the truth? While one source claims that the two have forged a friendship, other insiders' claims seem to contradict this. During an interview, Garner shares how she's been working hard to not look at any news regarding her or her ex-husband. She said, "I work hard to not see either of us in the press. It doesn't make me feel good, even if it's something nice about one of us." She went on to add, "I don't need to see my family made into a meme." After she was asked if she was seen the Ben memes, and she replied by saying no, but admitting that he is quite meme-worthy. This didn't sit well with J-Lo at all, and an insider shared, "It's Jennifer's way of saying Ben looks miserable, and all of his appearances in the public are lame. How could J-Lo not take it personally?" Adding that the comments made were a big FU to J-Lo. The source further revealed the star's feelings, saying, "Part of her wants to fire back and tell Jennifer off, but she's smart enough to not make too much of a scene publicly. So it'll all be up to Ben to be the referee. Seems like maybe she's some pretty strong opinions that she'd rather the press not know." Number 2. The 2003 split. Seems like Ben and Jen have varying views as to why they called off their first wedding back in 2003. Jen supposedly has claimed that the two just weren't seeing a future with similar visions together. A source told Page 6 they were on very different paths at the end of it. Jennifer was ready to settle down and have kids, but Ben wasn't keen on giving up his bachelor lifestyle just yet. Going on to say she got tired of waiting for him to come around, even though it broke her heart to end things. But is this what Ben felt at the same time? In a conversation that was released after the two split, revealed how Ben hated all the attention the wedding was getting, which is one of the reasons the two called for the original postponement of their big day. He reportedly says, "It's driving me crazy, everything is out of control." And at number 1, we have Selena. Reportedly, Jen can't handle media attention and critics as well as she'd like people to believe. Back in 1997, Jen was criticized by a journalist for her role in the film Selena. Though many people loved the movie and Jen's performance, one journalist really felt the star's wrath for not loving it. The journalist wrote at the time, "The one thing you don't do when you walk into this movie is say, 'Who's that girl?'" During an interview, Jen said, "There are certain people marked for death already. I have my little list of journalists that have treated me unfairly." It didn't end there though, and it looked like she really couldn't handle the heat. Jen was quoted by Animated Times that when asked about the review, she said, "I was totally happy with my work on Selena, but out of the 700 reviews, I can quote, 'The one thing you don't do when you walk into this movie is say, 'Who's that girl?'" Going on to say, "When another person from the same magazine came up to me, the first thing I said to her was, 'You tell that other bee that writes for your magazine that I'm never talking to her again.'" Definitely a note for other journalists is don't write a bad review about J-Lo because she will never forget.
Starting us off at number 10, we have
have controlling Ben Affleck. One rumor Jennifer would definitely try to hide is how controlling she's been rumored to be. Several sources have spoken up about the state of Jennifer and Ben Affleck's marriage, mentioning numerous things that annoy her about him. According to an insider, one significant issue for Jen is Ben's smoking habit, which has been a long-standing behavior of his. The insider shared he promised to give it up, but with all her nagging, he's smoking more than ever. In addition to his smoking habit, it seems Ben might have a cleanliness problem as well. The source shared, Ben doesn't clean up after himself, which irritates Jennifer. The source also criticized Jennifer's approach to nagging her husband, saying she's been known to yell at him and point her finger. It makes people wonder if she mistakes him for a dog. Moreover, Jennifer didn't hold back in an interview when she suggested that Ben had no fashion sense. Recounting a conversation with him, she stated, "I did kind of like say, you need to be, you're a movie star. You should wear a suit, You should do this with your hair." Going on to say, he didn't do anything he didn't want to do. He had some good fashion moments when he was with me. At number 9, we have the Botox accusations. Despite Jennifer's denial, numerous dermatologists claim that she has had Botox done in the past. Following the launch of her skincare brand JLo Beauty, Jennifer faced significant backlash. She attributed her ageless appearance to her skincare products, but many fans remained skeptical. And in a makeup-free selfie she shared, her skin appeared unusually flawless, raising suspicions. Jennifer has previously stated, "I haven't had Botox to this day, I'm not that person," asserting that olive oil, not cosmetic procedures, was her secret. Dermatologist Corey Hartman challenged her claim on Instagram, suggesting that Jennifer might be conveniently forgetting any previous Botox treatments, and emphasized that olive oil alone couldn't produce her results. Quote, "I think Jennifer is probably forgetting if she's ever had Botox, but I know for sure that she's used more than olive oil to maintain that glow." In response, Jennifer defended her practices in an interview, doubling down that her approach works, saying, "I'm telling you what I do works. Please don't call me a liar. I don't lie about things. I've been pretty honest about my whole life." She also engaged with fans on Instagram, denying accusations of Botox use. However, many people agree that achieving her youthful look solely through olive oil would be impossible given her age. At number 8, we have Interview with Movie Line. Was she using this interview as an opportunity to criticize her fellow women in the industry, or was she genuinely just expressing her admiration for them? JLo's 1998 Movie Line interview has gained notoriety due to her interesting critiques of other women in the industry. One of the targets of her criticism was Madonna and her acting skills. When asked about Madonna, she supposedly responded by saying, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, 'Oh, I can do that, I can act.' I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Gwyneth Paltrow was another person JLo targeted in this interview. When asked about Gwyneth, JLo replied, "I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association." She further commented, "I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Cameron Diaz was the next subject of JLo's harsh remarks. When discussing Cameron, she said, "A lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities, I just wish she would have done more with." She also somewhat dismissed the actress by adding, "She's beautiful and has a great presence though, and in my best friend's wedding, I thought, when directed, she can be good." 20 years later, when asked about this interview, she admitted knowing that it had upset some people. She explained, "I was still in that kind of fan mentality back in the Bronx. And then you go, oh, wait a minute, you have a responsibility to present yourself in the way that you are and not let people interpret it in a way that could be that you're this hurtful, callous person." And number 7 is the makeup artist banishment. This situation is a prime example of JLo believing a complete lie and then running with it. Back in the mid-2000s, she went after her longtime makeup artist, Scott Barnes, like nobody's business. Why? Well, there were rumors floating around that someone in her inner circle spilled the beans about her secret wedding to Mark Anthony. And let me tell you, Jen was not happy about it. Scott spilled the tea during an interview, revealing that he was practically banished by JLo for a whole year, even though it turned out someone else leaked the info. He said at the time, "It was like I had the plague." But here's the kicker. Even after they started working together again, Jen never bothered to apologize. They just swept it under the rug like it never happened. He said, "I went back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again." Talk about weird.
At number 6 is the relationship with Ben's ex. How are JLo and Ben's ex-wife Bennifer Garner getting along? While both parties may claim that there's no beef, the reality might be a bit more complicated. While one source suggested that the two have developed a friendship, other insiders' accounts seem to contradict this. During an interview, Garner revealed her deliberate efforts to avoid any news about herself or her ex-husband. She said, "I work hard not to see either of us in the press. It doesn't make me feel good, even if it's something nice about one of us." She went on to add, "I don't need to see anyone in my family made into a meme." When asked if she had seen the Ben memes, she replied saying no, but acknowledged that he tends to attract meme-worthy attraction. These comments didn't sit well with JLo, according to an insider who shared, "It's Jennifer's way of saying Ben looks miserable and all his appearances in public are lame. How could JLo not take it personally?" The source further disclosed JLo's feelings, noting that while part of her may want to respond and confront Garner, she's smart enough not to make a public scene. So it seems that Ben will play the role of mediator between the two, and that Bennifer Garner holds strong opinions about JLo that she prefers to keep away from the public eye. And number 5 is trouble in Bennifer paradise. Is JLo being less than truthful about the realities of married life? When she and Ben first got together, insiders revealed that Bennifer was over the moon. But now it seems like she's come crashing back down to reality. Multiple sources have chimed in, claiming that the honeymoon phase has faded since they settled into their LA home. According to one source, they're back to the grind of work and parenting, reality has set in. That's not all though. The same source spilled the tea that Ben stormed out of the house recently after a heated argument. Allegedly, the couple has been at each other's throats non-stop since tying the knot. Another insider shared, before the wedding, Bennifer put on an Oscar-worthy performance for Ben, pretending to be the secret, easygoing wife-to-be, claiming Ben was blinded by love and just didn't really know what he was getting into. Now we've seen them at events where they appear to be in the midst of a tiff, but could those moments have been taken out of context, or is there some truth to what these sources are dishing out? At number 4 we have the Selena film. It looks like Jen can't handle media attention and critics as well as she'd like us to believe. Back in 1997, she got pretty riled up over a journalist's criticism of her role in Selena. While lots of people loved the movie and Jen's performance, the particular journalist didn't feel the same way. They wrote, "The one thing you don't do when you walk out of this movie is say, 'Who's that girl?'" Later in an interview, Bennifer later addressed this, saying, "There are certain people marked for death already. I have my little list of journalists that have treated me unfairly." But the drama didn't stop there, and it seems she couldn't let this critique go. In an interview with the Animated Times, she revealed, "I was totally happy with my work on Selena, but out of the 700 reviews, I can quote the one who said the one thing you don't do when you walk out of this movie is say, 'Who's that girl?'" Going on to say, "When another person from the same magazine came up to me, the first thing I said to her was, 'You tell that other bee that writes for your magazine that I'm never talking to her again.' So note to self, don't write a bad view about JLo unless you want her to hold a grudge forever." Next at number 3 we have her feud with Mariah Carey. Everyone and their cousin knows about the long-standing rumor that Mariah Carey is JLo's ultimate arch-nemesis, and let me tell you, some of the reported incidents make it seem like there might be some truth to it. This feud goes way back to the 90s, and despite their denials of any bad blood, it's pretty clear that something isn't right between them. So here's the scoop. Apparently it all started because of Mariah's ex-husband, Tommy. In her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, she spilled the tea about working on her single Loverboy and using a sample from a Yellow Magic Orchestra song. But here's the kicker. Her ex, Tommy, who was the big shot at Sony Music, seemed a tad bitter about the divorce and decided to play dirty. Mariah spilled the beans in her memoir, saying, "After hearing my new song using the same sample I used, Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label." Now, Mariah never explicitly mentioned JLo by name, but it wasn't rocket science to figure out who she was talking about, and things only went downhill from there. In a 2002 interview, Mariah threw some serious shade JLo's way. When asked about their feud, she coolly replied, "There are rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. My whole thing is singing, writing songs. I've been doing this my whole life. Singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent that I'm grateful for. Her thing is something different." Then during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, JLo finally gave her side of the story. When asked about Mariah, she shot back saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest. JLo didn't hold back, adding, but we have never met, we don't know each other, I think it's from word of mouth of things that have happened in the past. And number 2 is the first Bennifer breakup. It seems like Ben and Jen have different memories of why they called off their first wedding back in 2003. According to sources, Jen supposedly claimed that they didn't envision a future with compatible goals. As one source told Page 6, they were on very different paths at the end of it. Jennifer was ready to settle down and have kids, but Ben wasn't keen on giving up his bachelor lifestyle just yet. The source added she got tired of waiting for him to come around even though it broke her heart to end things. However, did Ben feel the same way at the time? A leaked conversation that occurred after their split revealed that Ben despised the excessive media attention surrounding their wedding, which ultimately led to the initial postponement. He allegedly said, "It's driving me crazy, everything is spiraling out of control." And finally, at number 1, we have her diva behavior. Jen has been labeled a diva throughout her entire career, and it's a reputation that seems to have stuck with her in Hollywood. Reportedly, Jennifer refused to travel for a commercial that she agreed to do. For the commercial, she was going to be driving through the Bronx, the neighborhood where she grew up, to show what inspired her. But she apparently refused to leave LA, forcing a body double to have to step in and do all the work to make the ad for her. Her demands when staying at hotels are also known to be way over the top. Apparently, during her stay at a London hotel, she insisted on a suite fit for royalty, complete with roses, specific candies, freshly baked cookies, and plain M&Ms. Insiders who have encountered JLo as staff members have also come forward to share their experiences. For instance, while on a flight, Jen reportedly ignored a flight attendant asking her for her drink order and instead spoke through her personal assistant to relay her request. Without even looking at him, she turned to her personal assistant and said, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Yikes. Despite numerous accounts from other celebrities and staff members recounting their encounters with Jen, she has consistently denied her diva persona. In an interview, she defended herself by saying, "I got a moniker of being a diva, which I never felt I deserved." Going on to say, "I've always been a hard worker, on time, doing what I'm supposed to do."